Hello again. The old principle that if you're going to tell a lie, then you may as well make it a big bold one, is very popular with the advocates of black history. After all, if anybody disputes any claim made in the name of black history, you can always shout at them and accuse them of racism. It's worth trying on any amount of nonsense. I mentioned this book recently. It is written by a black guy who allegedly rescued a white man during the Black Lives Matter disorders in London in 2020. Some viewers might remember the photograph of him with this white guy slung over his shoulder, although there's a lot that isn't quite clear about that incident. It's rather dubious. Anyway, he wrote this book explaining why racism is bad and also how black history has been hidden. Here is a simply marvellous bit. It's on page 89 and it concerns this woman whose name is Shirley Jackson. We can see her in the thumbnail to this video. Here's what we read. When the American physicist Shirley Jackson sent off her application to complete a PhD in nuclear physics in the late 1960s, she was of the belief that with time and research she could contribute to the revolution of telecommunications that would take off in the 70s. While the rest of America marvelled at their thigh-sized cell phones, Shirley Jackson looked at the phone and asked herself, I wonder if we can create a screen that allows us to touch it without pushing down on buttons. It had never been done. This was an activation of blind faith. Another thing that had never been done was enrolling a black woman onto a PhD course at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Again, Miss Jackson allowed blind faith to chisel through every glass ceiling. Thanks to her imagination, intelligence and blind faith, today we have touchscreen phones. In fact, judging by the number of things I found scattered around the house after all my nieces and nephews have been over, we have touchscreen everything. Shirley Jackson owns part of our future and part of our thanks. This is, of course, complete rubbish. The touchscreen was actually invented in 1965 by a white Englishman, Eric Johnson, at a time when Shirley Jackson was a student of 22, doing a bachelor's in physics. This is not the only invention attributed to her by those promoting the black history myth. You can always rely upon the BBC to repeat any foolishness which involves black people, and sure enough on their website they give a list of 9 things you didn't know were invented by women. According to this, Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson is an American theoretical physicist whose research from the 1970s is responsible for, let's see what it says, responsible for caller ID and call waiting. Her breakthroughs in telecommunications have also enabled others to invent the portable fax, fibre-optic cables and solar cells. This is all absolute rubbish, obviously. Those things were invented at a time when Shirley Jackson was still a child. There's something a little unnerving about this, and it's also awful for Shirley Jackson. Her achievements in theoretical physics are impressive enough by themselves. Making all these silly claims about her simply detract from her real work. She may be seen in the thumbnail to this video. I'm guessing that in another year or two we'll be told that black people invented the aeroplane and telephone and bicycle as well.